screen just a moment. All right, so all agree that this is going to be recorded for the purpose of referencing first, and then possibly you will be able to also maybe share it with concerned people through the appropriate link. Yep.
Yes, sir.
All right. So is it visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So, so 6 days sessions are basically targeted around defining the problem, which is going to be a very interesting approach here. We are not going to look into problem which somebody has said that there is a problem, or somebody is feeling that, or somebody is suffering because of some problem, but we are going to get into the depth of it, and then we'll try to come up with a problem statement. That statement which will be helpful to take up that problem, that opportunity forward, and then possibly looking into the other different areas of problem solving. So that way, definition of problem is going to be the first part. Then we will be looking into how we can do research in social innovation, and then broader overview of like how research is important in social innovation, being a social impact domain. The problems are not so simple. It's not about making a sunglasses or maybe making a watch or making a mixer or grinder, but it is basically about problems, social problems, which are deeper, which are complicated, and which are not being solved so easily. So that way, looking into how research can help us in terms of exploring possibilities and seeing some outcomes. Third is like, as it is going to be an entrepreneurial initiative, so we will also be looking into how market opportunities and self-sustaining possibilities are there in the program. About me, I am a professor at National Institute of Design. How many of you are aware of National Institute of Design and NID? Okay, Anish. Thank you. Anybody else? Guys, do you know what is design? Okay, engineers have very, I think, close association with engineering design. Mechanical engineers are doing machine design. Electronics engineers, civil engineers are also doing a lot of design. But design in that domain is basically to look into how we can make something work. Yeah, design in our domain is very different than what we have been seeing as engineers. So in design, we talk about design for the holistic approach. So it is not just about making a material or maybe a mechanism or maybe electronic circuit, but also to take it forward and sell it in the market. Yeah. So if a design doesn't get accepted by the customer, then it's not a good design. Yeah, we as a consumer of design, we have been using mobile phones, television sets, automobiles, motorcycles, cars, or maybe a lot of other area of design interventions we are engaging with. We all, as a user, accept those things which are appropriate to our requirement. If it is not appropriate, then possibly we will discard it. There is no market for it. That means there is no good design. So that way, I basically deal into that domain where design is taken forward and dealt in a much larger context of implementation. Yeah. There are subdivisions also where we can say that, okay, design for specific things like product design, where we are saying all home appliances or maybe medical devices are designed, yeah, from the user, from the market perspective. There are automobile design, there are textile design, communication design for our logos, websites, sometimes our communication systems like signages. Sometimes communication strategies are made by designers, and those are the visual communication sort of domain. Same way, there are a lot of other design domains which are emerging nowadays, and design for IT related stuffs, maybe UX and UI is one of the prominent area. A lot of our applications are coming from that domain. About NID, it's a almost like 65-year-old institution, first design institution in the country, and it started with other premier design institutions like IITs and IIMs, So India was very fortunate and very visionary in terms of like bringing design education very early in the country. But I think lately we could not utilize or materialize the idea of design, and the institutions were hardly in few numbers till almost like 2010. Recently, we have seen a lot of design institutions are coming in who are imparting education the way we are doing. There are a lot of IITs who have design departments, dedicated design departments, which are industrial design and visual communication design departments. And that way, design is growing, picking up right now. Some of the examples I would like to share with you if you want to connect with. Some of the logos which we have designed, NID has designed in last few years, last few decades. Some of very interesting logos which you can recall, maybe SBI, there is somewhere SBI logo, or maybe Mother Dairy, those who are coming from Northern Indian region. This is the SBI logo. On the bottom fourth, bottom eighth is Mother Dairy. Doordarshan logo, yeah, if you can recall, Gale. So all these FDDI, those who are coming from maybe some design institutions, you might be able to recall, or BHEL. These are the logos which we have designed. One of our initiative in terms of like consultancy projects for different organization. Yep. So moving forward, I would basically talk about where we are coming from, like, and why we are talking about design as a title. We are talking about defining and validating the problem statement, and we are basically looking into the design thinking approach in doing so. So, what is design thinking approach? We all, in most of the scenarios, knowingly, unknowingly, following this process. This is called double diamond design process. And there are two diamonds. Those diamonds are iterative processes. Whenever you have any problem, you have a general problem, you try to do research, try to validate that problem, you get some insights, okay, I have to do something better, and this is something which can be done. Then you make some concepts, which we have been doing all across, and then we make some prototype just to validate whether it is going to work or not. If people agree to it, then we produce it. If people don't agree to the idea, then we go back, do research again, do insights again. If research and insights are proper, then you will possibly do ideation again and then go for the prototype. But this is a process which is followed all across the design activity. Yeah, very simple but very deeper process, I would say. Yep. And we are going to use this approach in some way. We are trying to understand how research, which is basically based on some general problems or common problems or problems which we have been seeing in our day-to-day life, which you have picked up maybe or maybe picking up in coming days. Those problems, we will redefine those problems and try to see what type of specific problem we are going to solve. Yeah. So first and second day's sessions are planned around this. Yeah. Being a social domain, or I would say being a social sector initiative, yeah, the problems are going to be very different. And as I have mentioned, that it is not about solving a luxury product or a cosmetic brand product solution. It's basically looking into the problems which people are facing in our society. And those problems, if we can resolve them in a right manner, then possibly it will be a great service to the nation, to the society. Yeah. So that way, our approach is going to be very challenging as well as very interesting on the go. Yeah. So can I ask you what type of problems you have taken so far? Is there any clear problem which has been identified? Is there any group or any person who is clear about what problem they are solving? Anybody? Yeah. So Sneha, what type of problem you are looking into? Uh,
Hello? Yes, sir.
yeah, yes,
Sir, am I audible?
yeah, I can hear you. Yeah,
Sir, my name is Jasmine.
yeah,
I'm
Jasmine.
from computer science background. I'm in
Okay,
my third year right now.
okay,
Sir, not belonging to the technical part, I saw a problem which I faced every day. It is based on not a technical one. It's a product based one.
Okay.
I even explained it to my teachers. Even they said you are a technical background. You have to work on technical. Not the products will be done from civil side. So I kept my product aside.
Hmm.
So my problem is so daily we use lunch boxes along with the spoons. Right? Hello.
Jasmine, I'm not able to hear you properly. I think that might be the case with others also. So can you please elaborate, like what is your problem and what domain you have taken up this problem?
So the problem which I faced in my daily life is, sir, we carry both lunch boxes and spoons at the same time. Sir,
Okay.
am I audible?
No, I'm not able to hear properly.
Hello?
Can you write it on the chat? The
Yes,
problem.
yes.
Yeah.
Very good afternoon, sir. Can I share my views?
Yeah, please.
Uh, Afternoon, sir. This is Vamsi from Vignan TBI.
Okay.
So we came up with an problem statement in general in women. Every woman feel like nowadays are feeling with dysmenorrhea problem, sir.
Okay.
So the to remove this dysmenorrhea problem, we are making an prototype of sanitary pad that reduce the menstrual cramps during the menstruation. This
Okay.
having a social impact.
Okay.
So till now, there is no sanitary pad in the market that reducing the menstrual cramps through sanitary pad, sir.
Okay. Yeah, Vamsi. Yeah. Okay, very interesting problem. Yeah.
This having an feasibility, sir.
Hmm.
Can we implement this?
Yeah, we'll explore that. No? I'm not in a position to tell you right now, but you yourself will be discovering this part, whether this is a valid problem or not, or whether this is a real social sort of like problem, and how this problem can be solved. There are a lot of like initiatives where they're looking into the problem of distribution of sanitary pad, creating awareness about creating possibly resources in such a way that large number of women audience can be addressed. Yeah, especially from rural, maybe from deprived sections. So that way problem is definitely there, and there are a lot of people trying out from different perspectives. So looking into it is really interesting. I think so. Yeah. Jasmine, have you written about it? Okay. Moving forward, I think Praglab, you have raised your hand. What problem you are solving?
Yes, sir. I raise my hand. Sir, am I audible?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Sir, I experience a problem with a lot of things. Like, is there is a problem in public transportation, like buses mainly that they always move to cities, but there is no like a fixed schedule or a tracking system. So I want to fix that problem by making an app, thinking of making an app that tracks, track and reroute if something happens to in the way, that type of thing.
So basically looking into public transportation problem uh,
Yes, sir.
or maybe availing or maybe providing more service or more support to large number of people who are not using public transport.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. So public transport problem is a big social problem. Yeah. And there are multiple layers of problems within it. One is the availability of resources. Second is possibly the interest of people. Third is like right connectivity. So it's not just
Yes,
about
sir.
taking one solution.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. I want to work on connectivity. So it
Connectivity. Okay.
like it schedules got connected with the people who want daily uses. Like in Delhi and Bombay, they always like waited for bus, but due to traffic they got late or something in road happens or construction they have to reroute and they confused. That's why.
Yeah, very, I think very complicated problem of public transport. Yeah, so definitely it's a good area to work on. Yeah, there are other problems which have been listed by some of the people. Jasmine has written, I think the problem of okay, so problem of spoon, how we use spoon, and the spoon might get dust, or if kept inside lunchbox get oily, and there is problem of like spoon. So you are trying to look into problem of like how maybe spoon can be redesigned.
Sir, a cap for the spoon, sir.
Sorry.
Cap for the spoon. The front side, front part.
Okay, so we'll
It's
have to see
silicone
how
based one.
how bigger is the problem and how long we can possibly sustain with the problem to grow as a social enterprise. So that we will be examining on the go. Then Sneha has written about the problem of detection of diseases. It's a very critical problem. And now, apart from providing healthcare services to resolve issues, healthcare issues, lot of emphasis is also in terms of detection of diseases. So early diagnosis is also becoming very critical in the domain of healthcare. Yeah. And that way, detection of disease early is the biggest, I think, advantage as compared to providing the services towards the resolving sort of like area. So it's a good problem, but you'll have to see how you can possibly define maybe or pick up some specific areas, maybe elderly's health issues, or maybe women health issue, or maybe child related health issue. You will have to see which area, which domain you really want to get into, and how you can possibly look for the larger impact. Problem of organic farming by Ayush. Okay, so creating a tech solution using blockchain. Okay, good idea for the certification or maybe for growing, procuring, and all. Then biosensor disease detection. Sneha's problem. Yes. Piyush is writing about uh, okay, so spreading maybe more options may be provided through sports for better livelihood and local player sort of like so sustenance through sports. Okay, lack of medical guidance. Zakir is writing about lack of medical guidance leads to development of chronic health issues. Yeah, very typical problem in the healthcare sector. And people are not getting diagnosed early, and then when complications goes up, then they are trying to solve those problem by putting a lot of money, like, by putting a lot of like uh, time, and many times it becomes it also goes out of hand. So early detection and right medical guidance is very important. Good problem. Yeah. So there are a lot of problems. I'm not going to read all the problems, but guys, you go through this list. It's a long list. Yeah, very good. And we'll be seeing. So I'll request Akhilesh to share Excel sheet with all the participants and ask them to write about the problem in three ways. One is the what is the problem title. Second is like what is the domain or sector, and what problem they are going to solve. So let's say if they are going to solve the problem in the disease related awareness, health awareness, or health seeking behavior, then how they are going to possibly address to that problem. So that way, three column information I think we can share with all a Google sheet, and then please write about your problem. Yeah, Akhilesh,
Okay, sir.
just you to
Yes,
do.
sir. Yes, sir. We will do that, sir.
Yeah.
Actually, these all of them have registered themselves on the incubator portal, and they have submitted their problem statements and the solutions.
Yeah, so if you
And
can
the
share with me, if you can share with me, I'll possibly make some sectors, or if you can do the sector based sort of like distribution, then we'll be able to see what type of problems you have received so far. Yeah, which are coming
Sure, sir.
in which domain. So maybe education, health, public transport, or maybe some other domains which are related to traffic, or maybe related to safety. So that way we will be able to segregate those. Yeah.
Sure, sir. After this workshop, we'll be sharing these things.
Yeah, Akhilesh. All right. So, guys, uh, as we go forward, I'll share with you one of the very interesting social innovation initiative, and you might be aware of this person, Andrew Carnegie. He was a he was a migrant, and during that time, it was not a great difficulty to migrate to America. The way problem is there right now because of Trump. The problem was not like people were migrating easily, and this person also migrated with his parents to America and started working as a laborer. Yeah, in his early time, in very early sort of like young age, he was working as a mill laborer, and in the mill, he came across one of very interesting initiative by the owner of the mill. And that mill owner was basically having a good library, personal library. Library used to be very personal, sort of like luxury sort of facility. And only rich people used to uh, afford libraries during that time because of the cost of printing and accessibility to books and all. So only rich people used to get access to those libraries. Public libraries usually were not there in those times, almost like 1885, 1895 or something. Yeah. And Andrew Carnegie, or even before that, Andrew Carnegie came across this initiative of the owner, but being a contractual worker, being not a permanent worker, he was not able to access those libraries. And he wanted to gain knowledge by using those libraries and trying to understand the larger sort of like larger knowledge domain. He wanted to access those libraries, and he requested the owner that even though he is not eligible for the access, but he would like to borrow some books and he will return it on the weekly basis. And owner was very generous. Owner gave him access to the books, and he started reading those books. Later, Andrew Carnegie became very rich, super rich person, like Elon Musk in present time. Yeah, he was one of the richest steel producer in the world. Yeah, he was the largest steel producer during that time when he became rich. Yeah, when he got success. And towards the later part of his life, when he started looking at amount of money he has, and he wanted to do some social sort of like intervention, social uh, work he wanted to do, he thought about his own story, and he felt that the way he could access those books, there are a lot of people who are really deserving, but they are not able to access those books. And he thought that why not this money which he has earned after so much of hard work should go back to maybe people to read books. And with this idea, he came up with a lot of libraries across America. Yeah. But his idea was very different than the usual philanthropic ideas. A lot of time people say that, okay, they are going to give money to some NGO, and those NGOs will be running some initiatives and people will get benefited. So he did not agree with the imparting or maybe providing or maybe giving money to organizations or some NGO or some sort of such type of bodies. But he derived some of the one of the formula. He said social innovation or this social cause will not happen in a straightforward manner. The foundation, which was led by Andrew Carnegie, will not straight away give money and create libraries, but he will also ask people to participate in this process. By this participation, they will have to at least bring some land, invest in building, and rest of the resources like manpower or maybe books or other factors will be brought in by the foundation of Andrew Carnegie. By doing so, yeah, he could reach to almost like 2,500 libraries across the world. Out of them, 1,700 libraries were established only in America. Yeah. Maybe in early time when those libraries were established, I think the growth of American education system, growth of American knowledge system could possibly be one of the reason. Possibly be because of the libraries which were made by Andrew Carnegie. The best part of Andrew Carnegie's philanthropic initiative or social innovation, we can call it, was that he looked into the problem from very different perspective. He tried to understand that what is the real problem of having libraries in society. And those problems are not only about providing money, but also sustenance of those libraries. Yeah? So he looked into the social problem in a very right manner. He managed the funds in a very interesting sort of like formula. And that way, that fund was always available for growth of the library. Scaling up is one of the challenge. It's not about making 1 or 2 or 10 libraries. He thought about making thousands of libraries across the country. And by doing so, he wanted to have a greater impact of those libraries in the society. The sustenance of idea, which is very important. Like, it should not happen that you are providing some sort of like support to people, and after you left, or after you died, or after your initiative, that idea should not go in drain. It should not be died. It should not be died after your your intervention. So that way, life of idea, sustenance of idea is very, very important. And that way, this libraries, these are some of the libraries, very recent libraries, library photographs. These are still existing and people are using those libraries. So Andrew Carnegie's idea of library sustained for almost a century. Yeah? And it became a great impact on the society. Yeah. So right now, when we are looking into such type of scenario where we are seeing that social problems are to be solved, and those problems should be solved in all these manners, all these aspects, that problem should be a real problem. Problem should be rightly supported. They should be scalable and they should reach out to large number of people. The idea should sustain on its own. So it should not be that there are people required every time to put in money, put in resources, and then you are trying to see that idea is sustaining only because there is some support coming from outside. Yeah. So that way we have to look into all these aspects here. So we are going to understand what is the social problem. We are going to understand what type of problem we are going to solve and how we can possibly create a statement for those problems. Yep. So we can possibly refer to some of the interesting social problems which have been solved by our Indian initiatives. Yeah, this is a very common sort of like place, and most of us might be knowing about it. Sulabh Shauchalaya. Yeah, this was initiated almost like 35 years back, and as a private initiative, these toilets were made on pay and use basis. Before Swachh Bharat initiative, the toilets were one of the very interesting impact on the society by providing clean and hygienic toilets to people who are not able to reach to or avail such facilities. Amul Dairy, if you are aware of, that it's a cooperative initiative initiated by Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, supported by him in the form of cooperative. It was started almost 60 years back from Gujarat. And now this is one of the biggest federation, milk federation in the world, and working as a very successful organization so far. Lot of cooperative sort of like initiatives. One of those initiatives is Lijjat Papad, basically aim to provide livelihood options to women who are housewives, who don't have or who are not able to work outside and not able to earn money for their family. They were encouraged to join Lijjat Papad initiative, and 7 women started this initiative and made it a very big sort of like social enterprise. Yeah, there are all other different initiatives like how 33% reservation for women as a social initiative has empowered women. In many scenarios, you would be finding that there is a male member dominating the whole process, but definitely to a great extent, women are participative now and they are bringing in change in the society through their own initiatives, and especially in panchayat elections. But similarly, if you can see the Aadhaar, which is basically identity card for citizens of the country. Yeah. So Pehchan card, you can call it. Aadhaar Meri Pehchan. Yeah. This is an initiative basically making sure that people are not struggling to prove themselves as they are as who they are and what is their identity. Yeah, it's not a citizenship identity, but it is basically identity card. You don't need to provide other documents or maybe varied documents to prove that your identity is something what you really want to present. Yeah. And Aadhaar has made a great difference in the life of people, not only by providing identity, but also linking with banking system, linking with other different systems. The Aadhaar initiative has proven itself as a great social innovation. Yeah. In terms of business initiatives in healthcare domain, Narayana Hridayalaya could be considered as a very impactful social innovation. And by doing the healthcare service, they are providing one of the cheapest heart surgeries in the world, yeah, which is unimaginable by any great nation in the world. Yeah, but India has been able to achieve, and Dr. Devi Shetty should be credited for the innovation, the way he planned everything from surgeries to maybe medical devices to doctors to maybe medicines, the process, the communication within the hospital. Everything is amazing if you look at from the social innovation perspective. Yeah. Briefly, I will, as this is the first session, and I thought I should bring in this topic also, that why we are doing social innovation and what is our objective of doing social innovation. Yeah. Identification of the problem is one of the very critical sort of like idea about this initiative. Yeah. When we are saying that social problems to be solved, what problem we really call them as social problem and how those social problems can be rightly defined. Yeah. That is the first objective. The first quadrant on the top left side basically focuses into how we identify a right problem. Not all problems are solvable problem. Not all the problems, critical problems, can be solved easily. Yeah. So you have to choose the problem which you are really going to solve in a very creative manner. So when we say social innovation, there has to be innovation. It cannot be just a incremental sort of like intervention which nobody is going to get benefit of it, or maybe nobody is able to recognize the problem in right manner or solution in a right manner. So that way, innovation in the solution is also very critical. Being ingenious, you are very innovative, I know, and you will be able to bring in a lot of like ideas when you will collaborate with other people. So innovation, if it is there in solving those problems, would be a great sort of like help to the problem. Yeah. Increase society's capacity to act is the third objective of this. So when you say that you are solving a problem, society should get benefit of it. Yeah, there is a problem which is solved, but nobody is getting benefit of it. Like one of the example could be early stage of metro implementation, metro trains. A lot of time you will find that people are seeing there is a metro going on, but nobody is using it. Yeah, or people are not using it for right reasons. Or people are finding it more cumbersome to ride a metro than taking a bike or maybe a bus or maybe their own car. Yeah. So that way, the innovation should be in terms of like it increases the society's capacity to act. Is also need to be seen when you are solving those problems. And when then problems are solved, when you are seeing that there is an outcome, that outcome should be basically transforming the society. One of the greatest transformation of digital transaction is that now it is so easy for people to transfer money. Now it is so easy for us to transact in any given situation by using mobile phones. You don't need to carry money or currency. Yeah, you are not hassled by people to give you change or give or maybe using toned off sort of like currencies. Yeah. The whole system has changed, and the first sentence you will hear whenever you are waving cash to somebody, people will say, okay, can you do online transaction? Can you do a QR code payment? So that way the impact is in terms of like how society has transformed by those interventions is also very critical. Yeah. Please stop me if you have any idea to share in on the go, or if you have any doubt or anything you want to share with me. Yeah. Or add to these slides. So definition of problem is very, very important, as I mentioned earlier, that if you are taking up a right problem, then possibly you will get into a right solution. Yeah. Many times we are solving a problem which is not a problem. Many times we are solving a problem which is not seen as a problem. Many times we are solving problems which are somebody else's problem. We are not bothered about it, but somebody is pushing us to solve this problem, we are doing it. Sometimes problems which are not very critical, people are not waiting for it to be solved. Yeah, but you are trying to solve those problems. There are a lot of levels of problems in which they can be defined. Yeah. So our purpose or our objective of defining a problem is to identify a right problem. What is something which is going to be defined as a right problem? Yeah, is very, very important, and you need to get to a right problem to solve it. To simplify the identified problems. Let's say a problem is too complex to understand and your statement is not able to derive or to explain how the problem should be understood. Yeah. So in those scenarios, possibly the right understanding of problem or simplification of problem is also very critical. And for that purpose, you try to define them. Yeah. How to find the right problem? One thing I learned is you can't find it online. Absolutely. Yeah, Mohammed Saeed, you're absolutely right. You will not be able to search and find it. Your AI tools will not be able to give you all the time right answers. Yeah. So that way, understanding a problem really need a deeper empathetic sort of like approach. You need to be very well connected with the society. You should be able to feel the pain of people. You should be able to connect with them in a right manner. Then only you will understand that there is a problem which is much deeper than what it is seen from outside. So it's absolutely right that right problems need to be understood, need to be got to a level where you can define them rightly. Yeah. So when you define a problem, your idea is also to plan an approach because you cannot go haywire in terms of like solving that problem. You have tried some methods, not working out, you will do some other approaches. Not working out, then you will take up some other sort of like ideas. It's not the way to solve a problem. Your approach should be absolutely precise in terms of how you are going to touch the problem and how you are going to impact. Yeah. And that process requires you to define that problem in a right manner. Yeah. To solve the right problem is the idea. Yeah. So you should not be solving a wrong problem. Sometimes you must have seen some of the scenarios where a flyover has been made on the opposite side. Instead of a traffic flow which was more critical to be solved, flyover was made on the different side of the road. Yeah, connecting different sides of road. And that way, possibly it has not solved the problem but increased the problem because now there are signals and there is the flyover which is not utilized rightly. And then people are hassled all because of the construction and the implementation of that solution. Yeah. So maybe solving a right problem is very critical, and that is why we try to define them. Yeah, the problem you face in real life while working, playing, traveling. Yes, absolutely. Krishna, a lot of problem we come across when we experience them. Yeah. But many times, and same what you have mentioned here, I'm also going to talk about it. Type of problems. A lot of time problems are generic problem. Everybody is facing that problem. Not my personal problem or some of people like me who are facing those problems. Generic problem, common problem like Delhi always faces pollution issue. It is a generic problem. Yeah, it is going to happen and it is going to happen it is happening for a long time. And it is going to happen in coming season also if government is not doing something great. Yeah, it's a very common generic problem and nobody is able to solve it easily. Yeah. Exceptional problem, something which is very different. Nobody is thinking about it, but there is a problem which is existing. Like space debris. It's an exceptional problem. Nobody imagined that one day space will be so crowded and cluttered and messed up that you will not be able to move your satellite there. So that way, that is an exceptional problem, but there are people who are trying to look into those problems and they are trying to solve those problems. Or exceptional problem of microplastic, which we are not realizing right now, but it is going to create a challenge in maybe coming decades. There are problems which are first-hand problems. Yeah, I have experienced it, as you have mentioned, Krishna. That problem when you are working, playing, roaming around, engaging with something, you are facing some problems. Yeah. And you say that, okay, there is a problem which needs to be solved because I am feeling that this problem is very, very severe. Sometimes we take up others' problem. So others' problem, like somebody else is facing that problem. I don't have any issue, but somebody else is suffering and I should solve that problem. Maybe a vaccination program, I might not be needing that, but I know that people are suffering and they need to be vaccinated for some specific sort of like disease. Is others' problem. Or maybe traffic problem, which is not your domain, but you want to really take up that and solve that. creative problems, like sometimes problems which are very creative in terms of like you really see that it need to be solved in a very different way, or it need to be defined in a different way. So creative problems, sometimes you come across and you say that, okay, this problem also requires a new way of looking into it. Yeah, a problem of maybe, what would you call a creative problem? Creative problem could be possibly uh, problem of stepney in car. Yeah, usually with tubeless tires, there is no stepney required. Yeah, and it's a problem of extra material which is being produced and put on the vehicle. Yeah, almost like 10-15 kg of wheel is always kept in a vehicle, and it is moving around all across without getting in touch with road. So that way it's a creative problem you can look into by saying that, okay, let's remove all the stepneys from the cars and create some extra space. Yeah, could be a creative problem, and might be there is a possibility that car companies will take it up. Yeah. Perceived problem is not existing, but you're seeing there is a problem. Yeah, and sometimes there are too many problems. So that way there are a lot of opportunities lying out there. If you are able to explore those, there are interesting problems all across us which we can possibly take up and solve. By defining a problem, I would like to emphasize on some interesting problems which have been solved in our history. Problem of flying machine, and when Wright brothers solved this problem, what was the real problem? Do you think flying was a problem? Because people were flying. If you jump from a building or a cliff, you'll be flying for some time. Yeah. So flying was not a problem. Landing was a problem. Yeah. So they were struggling not to create a machine which can fly. They were trying to create a machine which can be controlled when it is flying. The balloons were also flying during that time. Yeah. Balloons were in existence much before aircrafts. Or gliders were present. This is a photograph of a glider much before Wright brothers invented airplane. So gliders were giving you an idea of like how a plane could be in terms of its shape. So that way problem was solved in terms of how a plane is going to be and how it is going to fly. But Wright brothers' idea was to have a controlled flight where human effort in terms of climbing somewhere and then flying, or maybe landing at a appropriate or a place where you really want to land, should be in a controlled manner. So that way problem was redefined and addressed in a very different manner. Same thing happened with light bulb. Can you suggest what is the problem? Can you say what should be the problem, or what could have been the problem during that time when people were struggling to make a light bulb? So electricity was a problem or not? Electricity was already there, so electricity was not a problem. Yeah, but commercial electricity was not that popular. Yeah. But light bulb, making a light bulb was complicated because people were not finding a right environment where filament can sustain. So discovery was not in terms of like filament, but how that filament will also sustain in a system. And Edison was lucky, or was able to, or was clever, or maybe was good in terms of it as an innovation. He was able to identify an inert gas which will make that filament last for longer. Most of the scenario, if you burn this, if you light this filament in air, tungsten filament, it will burn very quickly and make tungsten oxide. Yeah. If you provide any other sort of like system, the filament was not able to sustain for a long time. And Edison could create a controlled environment by putting in organ inside, and then he could sustain that filament for a longer time. With future developments, that became even more sustaining, and people started using it for their commercial purpose. Yeah, so for that way, innovation became a success. Problem of electric car, same way we are seeing problem, we are saying no, distance should be longer for travel, battery pack should be bigger, charging should be faster. But what is the real problem of electric cars? Are we really looking into real problems of electric cars? Or we are just trying to solve a problem which is usually a problem of conventional car. Yeah? Conventional cars have a problem of range, and we have solved that problem by installing a lot of like fuel stations. So same thing we are trying to do here in electric cars. We are saying, okay, there should be a lot of like charging stations and cars should run for long. Yeah. But how many of us are really using electric cars for intercity travel? How many of us are really using cars for travel between Delhi and Bombay? Very few. Lot of time, more than 80% of cars are being run inside the city. So range should not be a problem. Yeah, access to electricity is not a problem. So charging stations are not a big problem if you have right sort of like chargers. So that way redefinition of problem is very critical. The perception of electric vehicle was one of the biggest problem, and Elon Musk solved this problem by introducing a luxury electric vehicle instead of making a cheaper electric commercial vehicle. Yeah. So looking at problem from that perspective basically helped him to solve that problem. Social problems can be defined like this. Air pollution is a big social problem. Waste disposal, a lot of people are taking up social problems in this area. Traffic issues, we have been talking to in my domain also. I'm part of strategic design management PG program, and we take up a lot of like social problems. Our students take up problems which are coming from industry, coming from society, coming from policy domains and all. It's a master's program, and we work very closely with traffic department to look into how traffic problems can be solved. Yeah, so people not following zebra crossing or the pedestrians, or maybe car drivers are not stopping at stop line, or maybe signals are not being followed, or maybe lane driving is a problem, or maybe behavior in terms of like road rages, or maybe aggressive driving, or maybe reckless driving, are the common traffic problems which we are trying to look at from design's perspective. Healthcare issues, governance issues, major governance sort of like problems are there in our system. And by doing good innovation, you can maybe solve multiple such problems in a very easy manner. Yeah, one of the good sort of like example could be how voting can be made simplified. Yeah, how we can possibly club maybe voter card with Aadhaar card and create a common identity for voting, or how we can possibly encourage people to vote. A lot of people still 65% is the common voting percentage. So that means 35% people are either not able to cast their vote or they are not interested in casting their vote. It's a big social problem. Distribution of wealth is a big problem. In present scenario, rich are getting richer, and that way there is a bigger divide being created in our society. And how we can possibly look into it. It's not about distributing money straight away, like take money from the rich people and distribute it amongst others. No, we have to look into how we are going to create livelihood options, how we are going to provide employment, how we are going to make life easier, simplified, and cost effective. Farm sector is a big game, yeah, and we are at a very primitive stage still in our 21st century India. And when we are looking at 1947 Viksit Bharat sort of like vision is there by our Prime Minister, we really need to look into how our farm sector will be more efficient, will be more rewarding for our farmers, will be more sort of like inviting for people to do farming. So that way the problem of mechanization, or maybe problem of transparency, problem of creating right markets, problem of storage, waste reduction, these are very interesting. Use of right sort of like resources and rightful use of resources are common problems, common social problems which we can look into. Education and many such problems are already there. Yeah. Some of the poorly defined problems, when we are talking about problems and people are not looking into the problem in and around their scenario, they fail. These are the companies who have failed miserably because they have not looked at problems which are emerging in their domain. Nokia felt that everybody is going to use Nokia, and that's the same Symbian sort of like system. They did not switch to Android and got defeated by others. Samsung was very smart in that moment, and they took up Android and became a great company in the mobile sector. BlackBerry stayed with the same idea of like typing through keyboards, and they were behind making a mobile phone which will always have a keyboard. Whereas Apple and some other companies, including Micromax, Indian company, they looked at the possibility of how touchscreen based mobile phones can be made. And that way, Lava and other Indian companies also tried their hands, but got defeated because of lack of like other issues or lack of maybe right resources and all. Same way, Yahoo faced challenges because they did not look into in and around scenarios. Kodak was more focused around printing photographs rather than clicking photographs through sensors, and they stayed with the idea of like roll-based Kodak reel-based cameras, and got defeated in the digital photography domain. Tata with Nano did not realize the problem is lying somewhere else. It's not about mobility. It's not about having a means to travel. It's about pride of being a car owner. So problem which Tata defined was not appropriate, not right. And that is why the Nano could not sustain, even though it was a great engineering marvel. Yeah. Nobody thought of a car which can be made, manufactured at such a cost. Yeah. But Tata could do it. But great innovation in product could not sustain in the market because of the poor sort of like perception about why people are going to use this car. Vodafone, Airtel, when Jio came in, or Ford, when car market was growing and Tata was picking a bigger share, Ford India went out of country, even though they had great products. It is all because they did not define the problem rightly. Yeah. The other problems which we see around us, the way we have seen that poverty, gender equality, climate change, health access, farmer support, education. These are areas where we are not defining maybe times problems rightly, or we are not getting to the right innovation in solving those problems. So what are the real problems? And guys, please take note of this, how you are going to solve your problems, or how you are going to define your problem first and then going to solve them properly. Yeah. First and foremost thing is like, not all the apparent problems are the real problems. If you are coming across some problem and you're saying that there is a big problem, that is not so easy to define it. Yeah? So not all apparent problems are the real problems. Please take note of it. So whenever you find that your problem is also felt by others, that means the problem is either very common and very difficult to solve. That is why it has not been solved. The problem must be something else, or must be much deeper. Sub problems are there which are possibly creating this new problem. Yeah. Problems are usually complex, invisible, or interrelated. It is never going to happen that you are going to face a problem in a very isolated manner. You are not going to face a problem which is a straightforward, simple problem. Yeah. You will always find, when you go deeper, when you try to define those problems, you will find that problems are complex. They are mostly invisible and they are mostly interrelated. So you will find that a problem is always carrying some multiple other domains. Might be possibility that they are carrying a lot of other problems also along with it. And to solve this specific problem, there might be possibility that if you solve some other problems, this problem will be solved immediately. Like one of the public transport system, the access to public transport system is, many times people say that okay, last mile connectivity is a problem. But I have also studied many public transport systems where communication is also a problem, where timely delivery of services is also a problem, where a lot of time perception of that service is also a problem, or poorly built network is also a problem that people are not able to use that system. So that way you have to define it in a more interconnected manner. Many times they are not defined as a problem also. Yeah, many times you will come across problems which are not defined as a problem. So those type of challenges of defining a real problem is there. Yeah, okay guys, you are writing somewhere. Many of you have been writing, but I have not been able to go through that. So we will possibly take up some of those points later. Yes, you're right. You are right. It was a problem of wrong definition of the car. So Tata came up with the idea that it's a poor man's car. Would you like to be called a poor man if you're buying a new Nano? So that's possibly a wrong definition of the car. Yeah. They felt that okay, there is no 1 lakh rupee car available in the market. That is very wrong definition of the problem. Because there are a lot of 1 lakh rupee car already existing in the market. The second-hand 800s, Maruti 800, second-hand other cars were already available for 1 lakh rupee or even cheaper than that. So anybody who is really wanting a car and needing a car would possibly buy a second-hand car and use it the way a car is being used, instead of calling it a nano and making or feeling it a poor man's car. So that way, problem definition, I'm saying that Tata could have defined it rightly. Or they could have looked at the problem of nano. Yeah. Classification of problem. Try to do your classification right. If you are classifying your problem, in which category your problem is falling. Is it a simple problem, complex problem, complicated problem, or wicked problem? I'll give you some examples. Yeah. Simple problem is a littering problem. People are throwing garbage. You can instruct or penalize those people, you can solve that problem. Simple problem. Yeah. By educating, you can possibly solve this problem. Our people, when they go abroad, they behave very right. Yeah. They will never be littering around. They will never be throwing things around. They will behave more gentlemen or more sophisticated than the natives of those places. Yeah. When they go abroad. But as they land back to India, they start littering around, they start throwing garbage, they start looking at all possible areas where they can litter. This is a very simple problem which can be solved by educating or by penalizing or by monitoring or by maybe name shaming and all different ways. But it's a very simple problem. Yep. Simple problems are straightforward and have clear solutions. They are usually having a single cause and effect relationship. Very simple. This is because of this. There is no interrelated things. Yeah. So I am not following traffic signals because I have never been fined. Yeah. So you start finding, people will come to those terms. Or maybe I have never been educated. I have never been to city and I don't know how signals will work. Could be a simple problem I can be taught about and then I can possibly start following them. These are very common and known, there are very common and known solutions for all the simple problems. Okay? Just look around and you will find a lot of simple problems are there. Complex problems are more integrated than simple problems but have clear solutions. Yeah? It involves multiple interrelated factors and they require specialized knowledge. So if you have better knowledge, you will be able to solve that problem. Let's say a problem of cough and cold. If you have doctor in vicinity, possibly all cough and cold related problems can be solved. It requires a specialist idea about understanding what is the problem and giving accordingly a right sort of like medicine to solve that problem. Yeah, so our solution may involve a series of steps. So complex problems are usually involving multiple stage solutions. By educating, by providing solutions, training, you see that problems can be solved. Okay. Then comes the complicated problems. Complicated problems are involving numerous interrelated elements. Yep. Or they are dynamic and evolving. So it is not that problem is going to be the way it is defined. It is also going to evolve. Like project management scenario. One supply gets stuck and your whole project management schedule gets disturbed. Or event management. One of the performer has not turned up and your whole show is getting into a problem. And you are seeing that, okay, there are multiple interrelated complications which are happening around. Or maybe a supply chain system. One delivery got delayed, that means all the deliveries will be delayed. And you will have to possibly put some extra effort to resolve that. Interrelated issues in terms of like problems are not going to be solved by only one person. Yeah? Or not going to be problem of only one sort of like party. Yeah? So these problems are often requiring creativity, adaptability, and larger systemic thinking. So you cannot just say that, okay, this is a problem of like one shot, you will just resolve it and problem will go away. You have to bring in a systemic approach where you say that, okay, these are the parties who are involved, these are the parties who are getting affected. These are the parties who are also getting affected because of the solution which you are trying to bring in. So you have to not only convince people who are going to get benefited, but also to convince people who are getting affected because of that. Yeah. And then comes the wicked problems. Social problems are mostly wicked problems. When we say wicked problems, they are highly complex. So complexity is also very high. It's not very complex, ordinary complex sort of like problem, but very high complexity problem. And they are resistant to the solution. So you are trying to provide a polio drop, and it is not so easy to provide a polio drop to eradicate polio from the country. It's a complex, it's a high level complex problem or a wicked problem because people are resistant. They don't want to give any external sort of like vaccine to their child, their child. They are not interested in any intervention. They are not aware of the benefits. They are not looking at the larger problem which country is facing. They are not able to anticipate how this problem is going to create problem for that child if he or she get infected. They are not looking into why government is trying to solve this problem. So that way it becomes lot of like factors coming into scenario. And you also have to solve problems of not only training people, but also providing medicine in all the locations so that nobody will be left out. You have to keep it repeating every 6 months so that you will have ensured that vaccine is given to all the newly born kids and virus is nowhere present in any human body. Yeah. So that way they are complex and resistant. They often lack clear problem definition. You will say, okay, polio drop is a logistic issue. No, it's not. You will say polio drop is a vaccine issue. No, there is already a vaccine which can solve that problem. Do you call it a awareness problem? No, it's not an awareness problem because 90% of population is aware about complication or complexities of polio. So that way it is not that polio is just an awareness problem. So that way you will see that problem is not very clear and you have to bring in approach to define it in right manner. There is always more than one explanation of wicked problem and there is always a perspective of individuals to define that problem. So a doctor will say something else, politician will be saying something else who is making policies. A bureaucrat will possibly call it in a different manner and he or she will be saying that problem is not this but something else. So that way there is individual perspective of problems also. Yeah. And there are multiple other ways that people define those problems. Solutions of wicked problems are not permanent. You solve the problem, you will not be able to get problem out of the place. But a new problem will always emerge after that. Yeah. So that way you have to see that how a problem is effective and is also able to counter the upcoming problems. So flyover making is a solution maybe for a complex traffic situation. But one flyover in the patch of like let's say 2 kilometer, 5 kilometer road, only one flyover is not going to solve all the traffic problem because it is going to create problem for other junctions. And this is where you must have seen that once a flyover is made, government is forced to make all the flyovers on the go. So that traffic problem will be eliminated from all the junctions which are coming in vicinity of this. Yeah. So wicked problems have not have no stopping rules. So there is no way to know whether your problem is final or not. Yeah. There is no one-shot operation or there is no one-shot solution for any wicked problem. You will not be able to say that okay, wicked problem is solved forever. Yeah. Always it will happen that wicked problems will bring in problems which are newer or problems which are not imagined before. So as you start seeing Aadhaar card is solving a lot of problems, there are also related issues of Aadhaar card. People are not able to match their fingerprints, those who are possibly old age or maybe have got some sort of like issue with their fingerprints. Yeah. Or maybe misuse of Aadhaar card is also creating new sort of like problems. So safety security of Aadhaar, which was not anticipated earlier, is becoming a new problem. So that way wicked problems will always bring in a new innovative problem which is to be looked into and solved. Yep. If you really want to define, and I will request you to define and make reference to this sheet to define your problem. Yeah. As you define your problem, look into whose problem it is. Yeah. Who is your user or person suffering from the problem? Who needs the solution? Who can provide the solution? So there are different users who are looking into problem from different perspective. One is the sufferer, one is the provider. Yeah. One is the person who can possibly solve the problem, but is not the provider. So that way there are multiple agencies or individuals involved in the process of defining the problem user. On the other hand, you can define it in terms of nature of the problem. So whether it is a simple or complex problem, how it has been solved so far. So in terms of like whether this problem has been addressed earlier or not, and why it has not been solved. So you're defining a problem in terms of like its characteristic. So in terms of solving the problem, you will look into possibly how you will solve this. So what are the ways of solving the problem? What do you need to solve the problem? So maybe resources, support systems, maybe you will require some structures or policies. Those things are to be addressed in this quadrant. What is going to be the feature of the problem? Let's say if problem is solved, what is going to be outcome of it? Yeah. And then fourth quadrant, lower left one is like, why do you want to solve it? What is your purpose of doing it? What are the benefits of solving it? And what will happen if problem is not solved? Many times it happens that people are aware of problem and they are realizing that problem is really deeper. But many times it happens that people say that, okay, we cannot solve this problem because of certain reasons. So what will happen, or what is the trade-off if we are not going to solve the problem? Yeah. So as we move forward, maybe we can define problems in all different ways. So real problem in terms of perspectives, context. So context in terms of like where the problem is, whether it is a problem of Ahmedabad, where I'm coming from, or whether it is a problem of Delhi. Both the places problem for a situation might be different. Pollution in Ahmedabad is different in a different form, and Delhi pollution is coming from a different region. Yeah. So that way your definition of problem in context, purpose of solving it, and ways of solving it differs by all these means. And that way you also define your users, how they are going to be there. Okay. Look around, maybe you will find that those problems, how they have been seen. A small business, there are a lot of problems which are faced by people, sabzi walas or maybe pani puri guys, food stalls, chai walas. So how these people see multiple problems and how we see that those problems can be solved. We have taken up this project and one of the case studies there, which talks about like how small businesses can be possibly addressed these problems. And many times people feel that problem of mobility, unorganized structures, problem of maybe time consuming processes. A sabzi guy has to arrange everything and then dismantle that cart and then go back home. Sabzi wala also thinks of like selling off everything by the evening. So they have to sometimes forcefully sell everything for that price, yeah, which is acceptable to the customer. And many times they make losses. Yeah. So process of doing this is also very cumbersome. Revenue is one of the problem, and many times we solve small businesses problem by increasing revenue and all. Freshness, damages, hygiene, these are a very common problem. By solving those problems, you can create modular systems, you can create modular or friendly, woman-friendly systems. You can possibly create better brands in and around and make them feel good about. But many times we don't look at how they are associated with the business, how they are feeling about those business, whether they want to continue that small business or not. And that way problems can be expanded and can be looked from multiple perspectives. So when we are doing this problem solution, problem definition, we were trying to see how a small business owner feel pride about their business. And in India, you'll find that hardly anybody who is proud about their small businesses. Many times they feel that, okay, if they're doing a small business, they want to have a shop. They want to have an organized system. Whereas in the scenario of other countries, small businesses, there are a lot of like pride sort of like element associated with the business. And that makes those businesses sustain and grow. Yep. So here we have an assignment, and before we move further and talk about the other sort of like domains of problem definition, I'll request you to look into your problem, prepare a 5-slide presentation, and try to see how your problem is seen from your perspective. So how we are going to define the social problem in the context which you have taken up. Yeah, you will present a problem statement. I'll give you some idea about how the problem statement should be seen here and how we can possibly make a problem statement. Yeah. Define the user and their needs. So first is like, what is your problem? What problem you are solving? What is your problem statement as a statement? Like we are solving the problem of people who are not able to access education in rural context. Could be your problem statement by providing access to a school in their sort of like convenient times. Could be your problem statement. Yeah. Defining of user means who's your user? Your user is a rural audience, urban audience, maybe economically sound audience or economically deprived section. Maybe people who are living in a community or people who are living in maybe remote locations. That way, your user can be defined and can be possibly placed. How your user has been affected by the problem. You have to define that in a right manner and what type of problem you are really going to solve. Towards the end, in the fifth slide, you will make a slide which will talk about what is the real problem you are going to solve here by taking up this challenge. Yeah. So our idea of this initiative or this activity is basically to look into how our problems are defined. Yeah. And how our problems are going to be seen in this situation. Moving little forward, I'll possibly give you an idea about how you can possibly define certain type of problems. Yeah, in terms of maybe you can say a problem of single-use plastic. Possibly it can be defined as a problem of like whether reusing of plastic or collection of plastic or maybe disposal or recycling in a right manner or maybe system of defining or maybe creating awareness of the single-use plastic problem. So that way a problem like this can be defined in multiple ways. A problem like this where you're seeing that how all the batteries are discarded and how those batteries, even though they are hazardous, are thrown as a common garbage in our dustbins and how they can possibly be made in more simplified, more uh, accessible manner. So those possibly could be the way that your problem can be seen and you can possibly define those problems. Yeah. So with this, I'll stop here and I'm open for some of the questions or maybe queries which we can discuss and then we'll close the session. Yeah. So should we go by, and would you like to address to some of the messages which have been shared here? Would you like to talk about those? So I'll randomly pick some of the questions and then we can discuss those problems.
How to submit this assignment?
Praglab, I'm not able to hear you. Yeah, please say it again.
Sir, how we going to submit this assignment? That's what I mean.
How we are going to make it?
Submit the assignment.
Assignment. Okay, yeah. So assignment you will submit to Akhilesh and we want all the participants who are part of this cohort will have to submit this assignment by 11th of uh, yeah 11th next week and by doing so you will complete your first assignment. It should be 5-page assignment. I'll also be able to access those 5 pages and then when we will meet that day we will have more detailed discussion on how our problem statements are there. So what we will do, we will take 5 or 6 problem statements. Those presentations will be done by the teams. We'll discuss around those 5 problems which have been shared with us and then we will discuss in detail how problem statement should be made. Yeah, more refined problem statement should be made. So by taking around 5 ideas from the different domains, we'll be able to touch upon domains and the problem statements. Yeah. But assignment is a requirement of the course which you are part of, and those assignments will be monitored by the team which is led by Akhilesh. Yep.
Yes, sir. We will be sharing them the links to submit their assignments.
Yeah, so you will be sharing the presentation to them And see, the problem idea of this assignment is also to have compilation of your journey. So as you move forward, let's say you have defined your problem right, and you have made those 10 slides on the go when you go out of this and then possibly keep working on your work and on your challenge, you will be redefining your problem statement all across, maybe for coming 3-4 months. And by doing so, you will have some sort of like grounding in terms of how your problem was seen earlier and how you have redefined it, and now how you have got a real, deeper problem in the given context. So that is the whole idea of making these assignments. So first idea is just make 5 slides, try to present your idea. You'll get a lot of clarity about whether your problem is right or not. Yep. Okay, some of the messages, or anybody would like to say something about the messages which they have written here? Decrease of fossil fuel. Yeah, decrease of fossil fuel is a big problem. But my understanding and my assumption as a designer, as a creative person, I feel there will be a day when we will really not needing digging out those oil wells and taking out those fossil fuels. A scenario will change so drastically that we will create some recharging systems and we will create some electrical sort of like sources which will make our life easier, will not be dependent on fossil fuel before they are depleted. So that way possibly technology system will evolve, and the way cars are picking up the electric cars, one day will come when we will not be needing coal or maybe petroleum products to create energy. But at present, it's a big problem, and that problem has not been solved, and people are not looking into the larger scenario or larger context, and we are still in grip of that issue. Yep. So somebody has mentioned about fossil fuel problem. Okay. Next is I have to see, yes. Okay, any other problem you would like to take up or discuss? Then another one is
Yes. Sir, the second slide and fifth slide look similar. What should we present in these two slides? Like present the problem statement and what problems you are trying to solve look similar, right? So how would
okay, no,
we
no, no.
present those?
So what is your social problem? Social problem is like problem of poverty, problem of lack of education, this and that. You'll give a clear idea about what is the problem, irrespective of whether your statement is there or not. Statement is basically a 2 or 3 liner statement which defines that problem in your context. Yeah. So problem statement is basically your understanding of the problem.
No,
There
sir,
is
I
a
am
problem.
asking about the last one. What problem you are trying to solve and problem statement.
So problem statement is giving you an idea about what is something which is going to be a statement of the problem. Let's say coming from the defining of the problem. Problem you're solving is basically I am going to create a system which is going to educate people, or I am going to create a list of books which will be available online. Is the way of solving that problem. Yeah. Okay. So maybe you can refer to it as a way to solve the problem. Yeah, how you're going to solve the problem. Let me correct it here.
Okay.
Yeah. How you are trying to solve the problem. Solve the problem. Is it okay?
Yeah.
So it is not about your idea in a complete sense, but our approach or our thought process right now is to have some grounding where you are right now. Don't get stayed or stuck to the idea of definition of your problem as well as solution. Yeah. Don't worry about it. If you have any great idea in mind to solve those problems, just keep it aside. Try to define your problem right. Try to understand whether you're rightly solving a problem or not. You're solving a right problem or not. whether this problem is going to impact many people or not, whether it is a society's problem or not, whether you are going to get success in this problem or not, solving that. So that way, stay with this ambiguity, this idea of understanding, defining, looking into the possibilities of the problem which you have picked up right now. Yeah. Don't be too hurried. Yeah. All engineers have, I'm as an engineer, I'm telling you, all engineers have sort of eagerness, or maybe they are very hurried to solve the problem. Don't try to solve problem immediately. Try to be with the problem for a longer time. Try to understand, try to explore what are different sort of like facets of those problems are there. And once those problems are defined right, solution will be emerging from multiple domains. Yeah. If Wright brothers would have not made that plane, that aircraft, yeah, somebody else would have made that aircraft. There were almost like 20, 30 innovators working on same idea, how to make a machine fly. Yeah, so it was not that if Wright brothers would have not made that problem, not made that solution, the aircraft would have not been there in present situation. No, it's not. Yeah. If somebody would have not invented a light bulb, somebody else would have done it. Don't worry about solutions. Solutions will be there. It's more important to look into whether you are picking up right problem or not. Yeah. So my urge, my request will be to stay with the problem for a longer time. And this group, the initiative of NESCOM Foundation, basically helps to resolve these matters or these stages in a very gradual manner. You have good amount of time to look into all these things in detail. So don't hurry in terms of like getting to a result, getting to a level. Yeah. Spend time on these areas, move on, go back again if you have questions, resolve those, and then again come back to the previous situation. Okay? So that way, I think that's more iterative, more experimental sort of like approach which you guys should follow here. Yep.
Good evening, sir. I have a doubt regarding is that we have to go. I have a problem and I'll be searching for an existing solution, or
Okay.
I do literature review. So I found the similar sort of problems. I'll add some add-ons.
Okay.
So how exactly you want me to solve the problem in different perspectives? Means I have an idea which is already existing, which is of more of less similar kind of problem.
Okay.
So how can that problem or idea should be of different sort, or how to present it in a different, I mean, very unique manner? Give me some inputs regarding this, sir.
Okay, so what problem you are trying to solve?
Uh, See, sir, for like as one of our chatbot friends said, like spoon, wherever we can't carry a spoon, right? So alternative of spoon, we have like some sticks in the restaurants and malls. Basically, we have a wooden stick where we use and throw it, and uh, some my students suggested like a spoon which is like not only usable and using and throwing, but it should be like an eatable, which is like you can consume it.
Okay.
So that is what, sir. We have the unique and different ideas, but the thing is how it will go into the market, and how can that problem statement can be more potential. So
Okay.
give me some inputs regarding this, sir.
Yep. Okay, so when you are saying that there is a problem of, let's say, basic cutlery, yep. If you try to define a problem of basic cutleries and how the basic sort of like materials in and around food serving are important. One of the element is spoon, but maybe a bowl or maybe a system which is holding food.
Yeah, sir.
You will try to see how this problem is there in present scenario. How many people really face that type of problem? How big is the problem? Whether it is a life-threatening problem or whether it is a luxury sort of like problem, that if you have something good, if you don't have, it's all right. Life will go on. without this object also. So define it in that way. The life-threatening challenges are going to be addressed fast. Yeah,
Yeah.
something which is harming you, something which is affecting you, something which is going to change your life, change your way of doing things, is going to definitely be addressed fast. As
Yes.
compared to something which is going to make you possibly feel good, look good, or
Hmm.
comfort you, will be
Yes, sir.
taken at a later stage. Yeah. So try to define it from that perspective. Try to see whether a spoon is a big problem or not. How many people really face that type of problem? Are you talking about spoon for common people, or you're also talking about a spoon for maybe people with disability, people with motor movement issues?
Yes.
Your problem definition will change. Yeah. Whose problem is the bigger problem? Let's say common people not finding spoon is a bigger problem, then possibly solve that. You're talking about maybe disabled person,
Yeah.
they are facing some challenges, then that's a different type of problem and you have to solve that for those people only. Yeah.
Yeah.
If it is a
Sir.
universal problem, everybody's problem like pollution,
Yeah.
the problem definition will change. Yeah. So try to
And
look into how this problem is there. How big is the problem? Whether people are really wanting the solution to be there or not. If
and one
people
more.
want that solution, then they will jump on it. They will just take it. If
Sure.
people are indifferent, then possibly you will have to sell your idea in a big way to get it utilized.
But one more problem. I mean, I have a problem statement, sir, which is universal problem, as you said right now. This is plastic issue, sir. I mean, as it is very it is a waterproof and easy carryable. So people are using more of plastic. So is that I don't have any solution for this, but it is a universal problem and we are facing it. So for that,
What do you think, Pratusha? Why people are not refraining from using plastic?
it's all about the fashion. I mean, the plastic. I mean, easily available, sir, cost effective.
One is the
And
convenience. One is the convenience. Yes.
yes,
So
that
we are
is
not bothered about environment when it comes to convenience.
yes, sir.
Second is the cost. If it is
Yeah,
not hurting my pocket, then possibly I'm okay with buying or getting it. And I will
yes,
keep demanding. How many times, how many shops you have seen where people are giving you cloth bags easily? Very rare. People will say if you purchase more than 200, 300 rupees, then only a cloth bag. Free.
yes,
Otherwise, they will charge because cloth bags are costly. You
yeah,
need to get a cloth, stitch it, maybe print it if you want to put a brand name of your shop. And then
yeah,
if you're purchasing only 50 rupees thing, you will not be able to get that. But poly bag, I think for 50 rupees or 100 rupees, you will get a kg of poly bags.
yes, sir.
Yeah,
More
so
even paper is not even replacing, sir.
yeah,
That is
paper is costly. Paper is much costlier than plastic bags, even cloth bags sometimes. Yeah. So second
like
problem is like cost effectiveness. Third problem is like polythene bags or poly bags are able to carry anything, be it liquid, solid. Yeah. So that way it's easier. You don't have to hesitate even if you're carrying liquid or maybe moisty elements. Yeah, moisty products. You'll be able to carry, but paper will not allow you. You cannot purchase vegetables which have got moisture in a paper bag.
yeah,
Yeah.
that is what I said. No, sir. A waterproof is only with a plastic. That's why
Yeah.
the milk which daily we are using is all within a plastic. But we
There
are
is an
seeing
alternative. There is an alternative of plastic in the milk packaging. That is Tetra Pak. But Tetra Pak is so costly.
costly, yeah.
Sometimes exceed your profit margin also.
But it is health hazardous because cancer.
That's a
Now,
different thing. We are not conscious too much about health hazards also when we are using plastic. Everybody knows microplastics are going into our stomach
yeah,
because all plastic materials are releasing microplastics whenever we are pouring something, whenever using it for some consumption. But people are okay with it. They have no issues. So we are not. So our convenience, our cost factors, our accessibility, our mental sort of like
okay. It,
comfort is very important. So we
yeah,
don't carry a cloth bag because it's a hassle. You have to
yeah,
remember, you have to always remind yourself that okay, I have to carry a cloth bag. I'm going to purchase some vegetables. People don't want to get into it.
Yes,
How
true.
many cloth bag you want to carry? Plastic bags, there is no limit. You can keep asking sabzi wala guy, "Ek aur de do, give me one more." Yeah, and that guy also gives you.
Yeah, so true.
So there are problems which need to be defined from that perspective. Then other thing is like plastic bag is easier to throw out. Have you seen those carton boxes which are coming from Amazon, Flipkart?
Yes, sir, true. I have
The
seen, sir.
cumbersome boxes, the bulky boxes. Even when throwing, you feel bad about it.
Yes, sir, true.
Yeah. But when you're throwing a plastic bag, you never feel bad about it. So these are
This,
human issues also, which are
okay,
associated with use of plastic. It's not only about recycling. It's not only about recollection. It's not only about segregation.
okay, sir.
Also about our perception, our convenience, our comfort, our logic of like economics.
It is, even though it is universal problem, but because of our feasibilities and all, we are not. I mean, we are using it and we are not thinking about future and all.
So our society, Indian society, was more conscious about environment in consumption, in terms of consumption. If you watch foreign series, yeah, international TV series, OTT series, and sometimes if you start looking at from environmental concern perspective, you will realize they are absolutely not bothered about how they are consuming things. Yeah, the international audience, especially developed countries.
Okay.
Their idea of consumption is if you can purchase something, just purchase and throw it away. If you have buying capacity, that's good to buy something and throw it away. Yeah, after use. So that mindset is also a big problem. We are not looking at it from that perspective. Economics is a big problem when we look into garbage, waste, recycling, and all.
Sure, sir. Thank you.
So that way, look at from all those perspectives, and then you will find that your problem is not limited to only materials or technology or maybe consumption, but also perception or maybe issue of awareness or something else.
Yeah, sir. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Good evening, sir. This is Sadesh. So,
Yeah, Achash.
I have a doubt, sir. Earlier in the session, you have mentioned one generic problem, that is people skipping the signals. And likewise, we are having many problems that
Okay.
people are not wearing helmets. They are
Okay.
skipping signals. They aren't following any safety protocols and
Yes.
such thing. And it mainly deals with the psychology of the people. As I have said,
Yes.
I haven't caught in the signal, so I'm not wearing helmet. That's
Yes.
why I'm skipping the signals. So if we have to address this kind of issues, we must target the psychology of the people and we must aim to refine them. But it's not, though it seems to be possible easily, it's actually difficult to solve such issues. And if you look more deeper, it even requires the politicians, the lawmakers, they have to make more stricter laws. But the question is whether they will enforce a stricter law. And or the law keepers, they are honest enough to keep the laws which are made. And if this situation, and if we dig more into this problem, it will involve the public, the politicians, the bureaucrats, everything would be involved. And in the end, we can realize that these problems cannot be solved. So can we just leave it aside that we cannot solve, or is there any way we can actually solve these issues?
No. See, you cannot keep aside those problems which are severe. See, road accidents are one of the major issue. India is, I think, one of the highest road fatality, sort of like the country is having highest number of road fatality, highest number of injured people in the world coming from India. Yeah. So you cannot ignore it. Even if you say that, okay, this problem cannot be solved, you cannot stop from solving this problem. But some or the other agency, some or the other body has to be behind it, because we have to reduce number of like accidents, we have to reduce fatalities, we have to make roads safer, we have to assure people who are out on the road that it is going to be better with the solution. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
That way, don't say that problem, if problem cannot be solved, that means we can leave it or we can let it solve on its own. But yeah, this is where innovation is required, and this is why you have taken this topic of social innovation. When you're saying a road safety problem is not solved easily, people are not wearing helmet, because they want to have their comfort on priority, or they want to enjoy the uh, comfortable breeze coming to their face and they don't want to stop it by putting a helmet, or they want to show off their hairstyle, or they want to be known or be associated with the bike which they are driving, so your face is hidden if you are using a helmet. You have to solve this problem. Yeah. By hook or crook, you find them and you make them wait for long if they are breaking those rules, and make their life miserable and force them to solve it, wear the helmet and solve the problem. Or maybe you can bring in innovative ways where helmet are designed in such a way that they are more user friendly, they are more safer, more lighter, more environment sort of like aligned. So in summers, they have cooling systems maybe, or maybe better simple sort of like ventilation systems. So that way you have to look at all possibilities. See, possibilities have been exhausted, might be exhausted right now, but there might be a new possibility emerging also because of use of technology, because of use of material, or use of maybe policy, system, enforcement. Yep.
Yes, sir. But there are certain problems which the public needs. The public feels it has to be solved immediately. But our system, it actually refrains us from solving those problems. The public wants, but the politicians doesn't want those problems to be solved. So these are many issues.
If you read statements of Mr. Nitin Gadkari, you just read his statements, what he talks about road safety. He is the one man who is behind this idea that India should be safer on road. He always keeps saying that how you give me idea, I want to make our road safer. Yeah, you give me idea, we will implement those. But problem is like it's not only politicians, it's also public. We are not able to bring public and politicians, policies and public together. There might be a problem. I'm not saying this is the problem. So it's not that always politicians or policymakers are at fault, or always public is at fault, or always police is at fault. But you have to find out some ways. So I will give you one example. One of the project we were doing with students, with local traffic department. And we were standing, our students were standing at one of the station, one of the police station, and we were trying to see how fining systems are there. Yeah. So we were studying that fining system, that how police guys stop somebody. That police person has to literally jump in front of bike to stop that person, otherwise that guy will escape. Yeah. So to stop from escaping, you have to be in front of. You will hold that vehicle, you will bring that vehicle on the roadside, side of the road, and then you will ask that person 3 or 4 questions. Where is your helmet? Where is your license? What is your vehicle details, registration and all? And this is how you will frame that, okay, this guy is violating helmet wearing rule. Yeah. The problem is defined by the policeman. Now, when it comes to fining, we realize that Gujarat, Ahmedabad police was fining almost like 4-5 years back, pre-COVID time. Gujarat police was fining 100 rupee for helmet violation, whereas Delhi police was fining almost 1000 rupees. Chandigarh police was fining even more for second or third sort of like violation. Yeah. So this disparity is possibly encouraging people, okay, 100 rupee one time in a week is okay. Yeah. So we made our research report and we identified some areas. We said fining should be painful. Like it should be pain for a person to pay, and that person should remember. Second, how many times you caught him? This guy who was like failing to follow this rule. Yeah, hardly once in a year, once in a month, once in a week. It's not going to work. So that person should be able to feel the sight of that penalization. So he or she should be seen in those scenarios multiple times. Okay, somebody is caught, and you could also be that person who is not wearing helmet. This happens very late. Yeah? So number of frequency of like fining was very less. Then fining process was very cumbersome. All the detail is to be filled by that police guy on the receipt note. That name of the person, license number, license plate number, and then the reason for fining, amount of fining, then signing of that user. And we suggested why police person has to fill all these details. Why don't you make some system where that person is not engaged for 5 minutes just to fill up that form? So that way you have to look at areas where there are possibilities. Yeah. And local traffic police took some of the suggestions. They implemented some of the suggestions. They said, okay, we are going to take it up and get it approved by the authorities and then implement it. But that way, if you look at the problem which are in and around us, there are possibilities, immense amount of possibilities for solving them. You have to just to be creative. You have to be innovative in terms of like how you look at from other perspective and try to solve it. How seat belt problems have been solved. Now, a lot of us who are driving cars are not comfortable driving without seat belts on. Yeah? All because of the habit of wearing seat belts. Yeah? Many people feel that okay, it's not because of safety, but because of the habit of wearing seat belts, we are always using it. Yeah? Lot of us are wearing helmets because we have got used to it. And now it has been associated with our behavior instead of just perception of safety. If I'm not wearing a helmet and I'm riding a bike, I always feel unsafe because of perception of safety, not the actual act of safety by the helmet. Okay? So that will look at the problem from those perspectives. Don't just be very straightforward in terms of like what is the problem and what you understand about it. It's going to give you very straightforward answers and problem will not be solved. If you don't create a web of problem, which is supported by multiple factors, and then define it as a structure, then you will find that okay, there is one thread which can pull all these complex things in one way or one go. Yeah. That will become a impactful long-term solution. Like Andrew Carnegie's idea. He could have given this money in one go. He could have rested all his life, remaining life, thinking that okay, I've done a great job, I've given so much of money. But his idea was to make people participate in the process. Till the time people, the community, locals who are going to benefit from the library are not going to get engaged with the library, he will not allow that fund to be used. And that innovation basically made that library system more effective. Making 2,500 libraries in 1925 is not easy. By 1925, there were almost like 2,500 libraries. It's not an easy thing. So innovation was not in terms of like giving away this money. Innovation was in terms of like how this idea is going to flourish, how people are going to get engaged, how the whole society will transform by this idea. Was the innovation in the system. And that same idea, same approach you have to apply when you are looking at the problem. Yeah, problems are common all across. A lot of people. You just go out and ask people. People will say, okay, yeah, this problem. I also know this is there is a problem. So don't just go by this thing that okay, you have got a great problem, which is to be solved. Try to define it. Whether this is the real problem or something else is the problem, which is forcing people to face issues. Okay. Is this okay?
Yes.
Yep. So we are closing now, and I'll request you to please follow this structure, define your problem rightly, and then submit all the presentation, all groups. I really request all the groups to participate and present. We have changed our schedules just to meet your requirement, your sort of like needs. So we are keeping it on Saturday so that you will get Sunday to work on this with your group. If people are placed in different locations, you will be able to engage with them and will be able to work on this exercise. We are going to meet on Tuesday, which is 10th. Akhilesh, we are meeting on 10th.
No, sir, 11th.
Oh, 11th. I'm sorry. Oh, there is a problem. So let me just check. Yeah, I'll confirm either 10th or 12th. We have to meet. So next meeting will be on 10th and 12th, you're saying. 11th
So
and
our
12th.
next meeting is on 10th, sir. Open house is on 10th.
Open house is on 10th. Yes, this
Yes,
is
sir.
what I'm saying. And then next will be on 12th.
On 12th, right, sir?
Yeah, so guys, we have placed, yeah, this is what is the plan. So we are meeting on 10th so that you will get almost 2 days, full days time to make this assignment, and you will be able to submit it on 10th morning. 10th we are going to meet and we will take up some 4 or 5 assignments, and then we will also introduce some more details about problem statement on 11th. And this will help you to redefine your, reapproach your problem statement. Yeah. On 12th, we will meet again with a new topic. And that topic you will work on 13th, 14th, 15th, and 16th. 17th, you will have a presentation. Then again, we will meet on 19th, introduce a new topic, and then you will again get almost 4 days time to work on it. So that way we are keeping extra time for your assignment so that you can keep working on it and you can keep refining your approach, your idea, your presentation. Yeah. See, idea is not to evaluate your presentation for my purpose or for my evaluation. I'm not going to evaluate and give you any marks or anything. But the idea of submission is basically to reach that milestone where you have completed one exercise and you will be able to take up this to the next level. Yep.
Sir, I had just one thing to ask. Sorry to interrupt. Like, if we had anything
Yeah.
with you, can we approach you through any mail or any other contact, sir?
Yeah, mail is definitely, yeah, you can write to me, but I might have the possibility of like response are little lesser because I'm very, very busy. I'll not be able to respond immediately, but definitely I'll get back to you as I get time. Yeah. So my email ID, I will write it here. You can approach me, you can inform me if you have any query or something, but there might be possibility that response will take time. _s. Yeah, this is my ID. So this is my official ID. I keep checking this ID, but I might not be able to respond immediately. Yep. Okay. So shall we stop here? Okay, Akhilesh, thank you, and all participants, thank you so much for joining today. Please inform your other friends who are part of this program who have not been able to join today. Ask them to